I've got to call the insurance company. I've got to call my doctor. I've got to do this. I've got to get this medical record. I've got to do that. I've got to figure out my apartment. There were so many things. This is why I was saying I was like not bored in hospital or during recovery. I didn't think there were enough time, like hours in the day
to do everything.
To deal with this PTSD or whatever it is kind of like, it's like anything starts off adaptive as a solution to a problem that your body's like, you need to keep going and not actually address any of this stuff. And then eventually becomes maladaptive when like it's fucking ruling your whole life and you no longer have to be in like go survival mode, but your brain can't get out of it then because it happened. And it's like, no, I'm still, bad shit is around every corner.
Almost dying taught me how to live. Being struck by a car left me in a 3.5-week coma with 15 broken bones and 16 surgeries to complete, including brain surgery. However, I woke up from that coma in an even greater place than I ever foresaw for myself. How? The universe will guide you out of the darkness and into the light if you allow it. Often, spirituality comes off as too highbrow. I'm not about that. Welcome to the podcast that talks and teaches about it through the lens of humor. Together, we'll harness positive energy and use it to work with the universe, all while giggling the entire time. Welcome to Gabriella Rebranded. Win most, lose some. So, oh my God, this is Kathryn Prescott. Kathryn is an actor. Well, currently she's focused more on writing, but originally she is an actor. You might know her from Finding Carter, where she was the titular character. My personal favorite, Skins UK, which we're obviously going to talk about. Second Generation, my favorite one, which we're obviously going to talk about. So exciting. She is from the UK, so UK people feel represented by this. But you lived in LA prior, and you'd moved to New York 3 days before your accident.
No. I had moved to New York like 6 weeks before the accident.
6 weeks before your accident. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
or you just signed a lease. There was something.
I had a breakup.
You had a breakup? Okay. Same thing.
4 days before.
4 days before.
But I had moved to New York 6 weeks before.
6 weeks before. Okay. And what we are referring to is Kat was also ran over by a car. Kat was your legs. You were hit by an 18-wheeler, like semi-truck.
Cement truck.
Yes, a cement truck.
Yeah.
Right after she had been moved to New York. Yeah. And I was an actor, not really doing that right now, but I am an actor. I had my accident. Kat's an actor. She had her accident. We happened to be working with the same people in sort of a legal aspect of the accident. They introduced us because they were like, you girls have a lot to talk about. And we fucking do. Yeah. We fucking do. And she happens to be back in LA this week. So I was able to get her to sit down for an episode. So welcome.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay. And before we get into everything.
Yes.
Because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get into all of that, oh my God, Skids UK. That show was my sexual awakening.
You hit this so well. We've met like several times, and I feel like I did not know that you were a
God, that show was my
fan.
I think because I was starstruck. That show was my sexual awakening. Like that, and your generation especially. Like I love Generation 1 too.
Yeah.
But your generation especially, oh my God. It was
not common that I hear that.
Really?
I hear a lot of fans of 1 and 2 and I mean, they like our seasons, but I feel like 1 and 2 were like the ones that people
your
talk
generation.
about.
For me, it was 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. I think because I just had a giant, I had a crush on Freddie, but I was in love with Cook. Like, I was in love. And it was funny because I just told Kat that last Saturday I had a friend over. This just happened. We both found out that we watched Skins UK and we decided to get high and watch the last 2 episodes of your generation. And it was so funny because we were both saying, I don't know why when I watch this show, it's like I'm transported back mentally to being 12 years old. And I look at Cook and Freddie, who are 18-year-old boys, and I'm now 27. And I'm like, oh, they're so hot. It's like,
you were 12? You were 12?
I think I was 12. I'm pretty sure I was in the 7th and 8th grade when I watched it. So I was 12 to 14.
Okay, wow.
12 to 14. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm sure. I was watching South Park when I was like 8. So.
That's why it was my sexual awakening. I was a child. But then I was a little girl. But then I watched you weren't in it, but the 7th season, like when they finished the stories of a few people, I watched that and I was older. Like that is
the
seventh
Skin
season.
Fire or
Yes,
Skins, blah, blah, blah.
Rise, I think it was called.
Oh, yeah.
That
I was in
Effie-
one of those.
Oh, you were, because
Wasn't I?
in
yeah.
Effie's episode, she goes to see, yes, because
But
in Effie's,
very briefly.
in Effie's episode, she goes to see Naomi, who now has breast cancer. Yes, and you're still with Naomi.
Yeah.
Yes. That, and then there's also Cook, the end of story, and Cassie, who's from Generation 1.
Yes.
She was lovely.
Yes.
So it was very, and she always used the word lovely. So it was.
Yes. Very
lovely.
fitting.
I feel like I manifested meeting you in like a terrible way.
Crazy.
In a terrible way, I manifested meeting you since I was 12 years old.
They were like, well, if you really want to meet her.
It's like, this is how you're going to meet. You're going to both get run over by some trucks. But Kat did not have, is it okay if I call you Kat?
Yeah.
Okay. You did not have a brain injury.
No, just concussion, not
just
like a full-on.
Which is a brain injury, but still. But
not like you had a brain injury. Yeah.
But your legs were destroyed.
Legs and pelvis. Took the brunt.
Yes. How many surgeries did you have on your legs?
To date, including like smaller surgical procedures, like 13.
13 just on your legs and pelvis.
Yeah, and like egg freezing.
Oh, okay, and egg freezing,
so, like,
which makes
3
sense.
of them were smaller procedures.
Yes, but still, yeah. But I mean, I count my smaller procedures because I'm like, it gives me more. It gives me more numbers. It gives me more street cred.
Okay, cool, yeah.
So I count mine too. But
yeah, so it was 13 total, 10, I guess, non-egg freezing related procedures. 2 of those were like big, my injuries were orthopedic and vascular, like a lot.
Vascular.
So I had to have.
There was like no blood flow to your legs.
Yeah,
right?
I nearly lost my left leg.
Yeah, oh my God.
Basically, and stop me if I'm like getting ahead of where you want to be.
No. Talk.
So I got run over by this cement truck. The 4 wheels of this like truck went over my legs and pelvis, broke my femur in half, which in breaking in half severed the femoral, like the main artery in my left leg. I broke my other leg. I broke my heel. I broke my back in one place. My pelvis in 4 places. My pelvis really, like pelvises, it took the brunt. But it took the brunt. But like, it is okay. Like everything's,
See, I broke my pelvis too, but only one place. So I don't think it's not nearly as bad as yours.
Pelvis, did they fixate yours right away?
No, I don't think I needed, like, it wasn't bad. Like, I didn't, yes, it didn't. They actually, because the reason why I probably can't have kids naturally, and I'll also need to freeze my eggs, actually is more to do with my metal ribs.
Oh, because
than my pelvis, because it messes up.
The expansion.
Yes. Yeah. But also they told me I had, because I broke 2 vertebrae in my low back as well. And they've also told me, they're like, yeah, a pregnancy, regardless if you can do it, would be fucking painful. Do you want to do it? And I was like, no.
It was something, she was like, you, if you really were like desperate to do this yourself, you could try.
That's what they said to me, basically.
But you wouldn't know until like months into the pregnancy whether you'd basically have to be, but you'd be a high risk. And then you'd have to you wouldn't know until you're well into it whether you were going to have to be in so much pain and like bedbound.
So that's basically, they were like, I mean, you can they were like, I don't. And they told me they would look more as I got closer to wanting to do that.
Yeah, okay.
But they were like, you probably can't. But on the slim chance you could, you basically be bedridden and in so much pain for the majority of it. And I'm like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, like your body's been through so much
Both
already.
Of us. Yeah.
So anyway, so I had to have a bypass. They took a vein from my right leg, which you apparently can very easily live without, and they use it to basically like patch up the artery in my left leg.
Okay. That's wild.
It's insane. So they thought when I came into the hospital, like I couldn't feel my leg, I couldn't move my leg or feel it. And I remember coming into the hospital and them putting me on a table and being like, can you wiggle your toes? And I was like, am I doing it? And they were like, no. And so then I was like, this is like, not good. But they managed to fix the blood flow. I had like movement in my foot again after the surgery, which even in the notes from the surgery, the surgeon was like, amazingly, she has regained like control of her foot. So that was very cool. What else did and then they, fixated my pelvis, but not for like a day and a half because I'd already been in surgery for like 7 hours for the vascular stuff and to fix all the orthopedic stuff. I had to wait to do the pelvis. And I remember, I can get really grisly also. So but I remember that day and a half in the ICU. Like I couldn't really move that much, but I could move my arms, and I would like pull myself up on the bed sometimes to sit up a bit, and I could feel my pelvis like moving around.
You're like, I don't think it's supposed to go that way.
Yeah,
that's not fun. And you also like were like contacting your agent and stuff, and you were like, I think I'm going to be out of work for like a few weeks.
I responded to this accident in like, I mean, I have learned from this accident how I respond to big, like bad things.
With shock,
But in total shock, my response is, right, what do I need? Who do I need to email? What do I need to sort out? Why is this not moving faster?
Yes.
And I sent an email to my agents and their accountant saying, hey, it was something like in a series of events I couldn't have made up. I got run over by a truck the other day, and I'm going to be in hospital for a while. It's fine though. The doctor says I'll be walking again in 8 weeks, which is not what he said. And I just like they said the bones would probably be healed in 8 weeks. I was like, I'd be walking in 8 weeks, and I'm really bored in the ICU. So please keep sending me stuff to read, like scripts to read, like mental. And then I started saying like, oh, and so the accountant, like this accounting thing that had happened, like my check for my last job had come straight to me. They hadn't had a chance to take their cut. I was like, so if you want, I can like cut you a check for this thing. And I remember I got an email back from my manager and he was like, Kat, are you okay? And don't worry about the check. Like,
we'll figure it out.
What are you talking about?
Are you? Well, you also, and this is your family. Like, I am blessed that like my family was able to fly out. My dad's a doctor, and like they were so supportive. Your family was won over fucking seas.
Yeah.
So you had no idea how the U.S. legal system worked. You didn't know any of this, and you didn't have any support.
I kind of know. I mean, I had also like just moved to New York, like you're saying. I hadn't found a place to live yet. I was staying in a temporary place, and all my stuff was in storage. I had that ending of a relationship, so I was actually just staying with a weekend bag and my friend, like the only person I really knew in New York, in her spare room with a weekend bag, and we had been looking for an apartment.
Nothing.
In the scheme of my life, I had not very much.
In the scheme of your life, but I also think in the scheme of a lot of people's lives, you didn't have a place to live. Mm-hmm. You were alone in the country. You had a couple friends, but you were alone. You didn't have any family.
I know.
Which I can't imagine having gone through this without family.
Yeah, it was insane. And they had so there was a travel ban on UK to US travel. And I mean, it's a much longer story, but my sister appealed for an exemption to the travel ban so that she could come.
I forget. Is she Katie? She's Katie, right?
So Katie came. Katie came. She got on a plane, but it took a minute even for her, for that to get approved. So she ended up coming. Like I said, it's a much bigger story, but she was, that was the member of my family who appealed to for an exemption, and and so she was basically, I think it took her 4 days to get there.
Yeah,
and then she was basically my carer for the first however many, 3 months or something,
which wound up being good for you guys, you and her, right?
It was really bad at first.
It was really bad at first, but
now it's good.
But your relationship had kind of rebuilt after this experience, right?
Yeah.
With your sister, not with the other people in your family, but with your sister.
Yeah. So it was, you know what, I'm sure you have experience of the patient caretaker dynamic is a really stressful thing for any relationship.
It's so stressful.
And ours, like, we're twins. And whenever I meet twins, for some reason, the identical twins I meet get on really well. And the non-identical twins I meet, it's almost like you're so alike, but you're just different enough to be like, for any differences between you to be like, can I swear on this?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
oh my
like,
God, are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Like a fucking beacon.
Yes.
And so you get compared your whole life based on those slight differences. And it's not a good recipe for like a good relationship. Anyway, so we didn't, and then we worked together. We were on skins together. It was just like a lot of
sexual awakening.
On your sexual awakening. It was very difficult for us. No, I'm kidding. But it was just a lot. And so we had this really tumultuous relationship. We were kind of not that close, but I have to hand it. She was like the second it happened, she was like, what do I have to do? Who do I have to speak to? Get me on a fucking plane. And so, yes, but we had a very difficult time initially because we were also stuck in the apartment together. Like once we got out of hospital.
And the New York living is a lot smaller than LA.
Yes.
Believe me, I'm well aware. That's actually part of the reason, because I always thought I'd be back in New York by 25. That's always what I said. And honestly, the reason why I'm not back, and then we'll get back to you, but just brief tangent, is because of my brain injury. Because I have really bad claustrophobia right now, and it's like too cramped for me in that city. And it's also too overstimulating downtown.
Yeah.
But actually, I was staying at my friend's place, and she lives on the Upper East Side, like a couple months ago. And I was like, oh, this I could do. So now I'm like, but I just built this podcast studio. So I'm like, what I'm actually thinking about doing is renting like a studio.
Yeah.
And just like occasionally popping back, subletting it so I have passive income. Anyway, who cares about that? Yes. Yes. But anyway, back to you, back to your small apartment. Caregiver relationship.
We were just in there for like 6 to 8 weeks before I could go to outpatient physical therapy.
And you couldn't walk at this point,
no,
right?
I was
still
like
in a wheelchair.
And I could barely like get myself like transfer from the wheelchair. I had learned how to transfer from a wheelchair to like the commode, or like I could not like shower, or kitchen sink was my shower for a really long time.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so
that would
she
cause
was doing
that would cause a lot of stress.
She's like shaving my legs for me, like
especially between sisters. Like I can imagine that it just causes a lot of bickering.
Yeah,
because like I know that the patient caregiver relationship is stressful, but I was in a house, wasn't in a wheelchair.
You weren't in a wheelchair?
I was while I was in the hospital. I left a wheelchair right as I left the hospital. Now, I could not walk more than 10 feet.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk more than 10 feet, but I was not in a wheelchair when I left the hospital.
Okay.
But I was in a wheelchair while I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
They had an alarm on my bed. So if I tried to get out of my bed by myself, the alarm would go off and nurses would run in there. So I was very confined.
Okay.
I was very confined.
Do you think that adds to the claustrophobia?
Oh, definitely. That adds to the claustrophobia. I think that very much added to the claustrophobia that I have now.
Yeah.
But I had the option, like they were like, you might want to get a wheelchair when I left the hospital. But I think my dad very much has that good on you, like toughen up mentality.
That's probably
yes. And it was like, we're going to get you walking more than 10 feet.
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah. Yes. You need that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, weren't a lot of yours, they were up. They were a lot higher than mine.
I did break I have a rod in this leg. I broke 2 bones in this leg, and I did have the small break in my pelvis, the one break in my pelvis, but that was, I was awake for about a week that I don't remember when I still had the cast on my leg. Yeah. But from when I can remember, which was like 6 weeks after my accident, I didn't have the cast on my leg anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you had a lot of other stuff going on.
Oh, I had a lot of other stuff going on. I had a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, but my legs were definitely not fucked up because your ACL was also like destroyed, right?
And they didn't even know until 6 months later.
Oh, they didn't even know? How did they not know that?
Well, I think, so someone told me since then that, even if they did know, potentially they could have known, but they wouldn't have done anything because you weren't walking anyway. So, and ACL surgery when you were, my legs look like after these so they look like my sister has all these like fun metaphors she used. What was it? Fake bad Halloween makeup. Like I
Fake
have
bad Halloween makeup.
the
Still,
no, I mean
not
the
anymore.
scars are still there, but
Okay.
after that I had like slits all the way up my leg from both legs.
Okay, so
from
at the time, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and staples, and then there was just so much other shit. They'd put like a rod in my femur, like I had 4 or 5 screws in my knee to hold the rod in place. Like both legs were broken, and I think they were just like, we can't really do her
We're
ACL.
trying to best. And how long were you in the wheelchair for? Because I know that you were in the for a long fucking time.
It was.
And then you had a cane.
It was, yeah, it went wheelchair, crutches, and then I was on a cane for a really, like,
I know
years.
you were on the cane for a while.
Yeah.
What was the timeline of wheelchair, crutches, cane?
I was on a wheelchair, I think, for the first, my God, was it the first, like, I'm sure you have this too, like the blur of everything.
Oh, yeah,
but
it's such a blur.
Definitely 2 months.
Okay.
I think at the 2-month mark, was it longer? About then, or maybe 3 months, I could crutch, but I could not crutch. Crutching, I can only do a little bit. So if I needed to walk like down the street, I would have to be in a wheelchair.
Okay.
And then I was on crutches for a while. And then I had the ACL. So I got hit in September.
Yes.
They figured out that my ACL was torn in February of the next year. And so then I had ACL surgery that March. So then I was on crutches and stuff because, but ACL surgery, you're not on crutches for that long, or you shouldn't be, but because I still had all this other shit going on.
They had you on crutches. And then you went to the cane.
And then I went to the cane, and the cane stuck around for a while.
And no, because I remember, because when I saw you this summer, you were like, it was the first time you didn't have anything. And that was, oh my God, again, it's such a blur. But that was over 3 years after your accident was the first time you didn't have anything.
I finally stopped using my cane. I've gone back on it for like small periods, especially because I've had more surgeries since then. But I came off it the first time properly in October 2023.
Okay.
So like 2 years roughly after the accident. I was on that for so long that it was giving me back problems, because when you're holding the cane, you're kind of like, you're holding.
And you'd already broken some vertebrae in your back. So it wasn't good.
Yeah. But I wasn't allowed to fly after the accident.
Yes.
So because of the vascular stuff, I actually, other than the vascular, like severing of my left femoral artery, I also had a bunch of vascular dissections in my groin that they told me when I left the hospital, like, by the way, we're just going to wait and see if these heal themselves, but you probably are going to need more vascular surgery.
And I'm assuming
down
you did.
The road. I didn't. They healed themselves.
Oh my God. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was the one surgery I did not end up having to have. But yeah, anyway, but because of those vascular things and because of the bypass that I'd had, I wasn't allowed to fly for at least 6 months. But my orthopedic injuries, I couldn't walk through an airport. Like I just couldn't fly.
Yes.
And it's a lot. Yeah, longer story. There are family members, a large percentage of my family I haven't seen since the accident for various reasons. They all have their reasons. But yeah, that Christmas, I was the first. It was like a year and a half after the accident. It was the first time that my orthopedic doctors and vascular doctors both said, like, yeah, you can probably fly now. And I felt comfortable to like cane through an airport. They said, they were just extremely busy that Christmas.
Yes. Which this experience for me, and I imagine it's times 20. And I think it's important to talk about, you established such a better relationship with yourself. At least I did. And like, I've got myself.
Yeah.
But for you, that had to be to the power of 20, because you really had to have yourself during this whole experience, because, like, not to be too sad, but like no one else really did.
Not to be like, woe is me, but
it's the reality of the situation. Like no one else really had you.
It was like, I mean, it was the situation, like the breakup the 4 days beforehand was just bad timing. The truck had bad timing.
And just to be clear, because we can talk shit about him, like he did not try. He found out that you were destroyed by this truck, and he did not try to help you at all.
No,
Don't be nice. Let's be real. Did he send you like a text?
What I will say,
yes,
is because again, he's not here. He can't like say his piece. Like everyone, like I'm the one.
You're so British.
With the platform on the podcast.
You're so British.
British people are like cutthroat.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I'd be like, this guy fucking sucks. He was a dick.
But basically, yeah, I was in the hospital, and I woke up like after 12 hours after I got there, like after I'd had this massive surgery. And I say friend, we were really acquaintances at that time, but I was staying at her place because like I literally knew like no one else in New York, nowhere near well enough to ask them if I could stay at their place, except this ex-boyfriend.
Yes.
And so she showed up at the hospital. I guess they'd contacted her and she said, oh, so-and-so, your ex, like wants to know if you want him to come.
Which
and I was... obviously, like, there's stuff with the breakup. Like, I didn't initiate the breakup, so I'm still reeling from that. But, like, then I also was like, is it weird? Like, why isn't he here?
Like, you should just be there.
Anyway, that's all. Yeah, but again, I maybe he thought maybe I'll give her some space post breakup.
I'm just going to use this as a minute because I know what I went through with friends to a smaller degree. If someone in your life, I'm speaking directly to the camera, if someone in your life goes through a traumatic health accident, they want comfort. They do want you to be there. And just like showing up for them would very much be appreciated. And like, don't ask if they want you, just show the fuck up. Send the text. Don't be a bitch. Whatever your selfish self, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when someone's in the hospital. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Feel validated. No, so anyway, that was just so messy.
Yes.
Family stuff. So yeah, there was the breakup part of it. So I felt like I was alone sort of because of that, as you do after a breakup. Then I felt like I just was alone because I didn't know anyone in New York.
In New York,
except
yes.
my amazing friend Brittany, who was just like there. And then there was this travel ban, but my family, my sister
came, but she didn't come for that long. So then you were just like, I mean, she came for over a month, but like...
She was there for like 3 months.
She was there for like 3
She was there for a big chunk because I just was like...
Well, no, I was literally... Well, that's what I was going to say. You were probably just sitting in your apartment, like, and now what?
Honestly, I never was bored. I will say that.
You were never bored.
I was never bored.
See, I'm like, healing is so fucking boring. But you didn't.
No, I was... But again, like... I mean, my sister's got pictures of me in a hospital bed with like one foot in a cast, the other one in something else, like bandages all up my leg that are like oozing red and yellow liquid, and my stitch in my thing, and then I'm on the phone, like got a thing, and on my laptop.
Okay.
Because like my insurance denied my claim to stay in the hospital for rehab. So I was like manically calling insurance, manically trying to fix that.
Insurance fucking sucks. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah. My sister knew even less about the healthcare industry. She could, and she was dealing with all her other stuff. Like I'd applied for an apartment, thank God, the morning I got hit. I'd applied for one.
Which that's another crazy similarity we have because I had signed a lease for my apartment the day before my accident. Yeah.
So but I didn't know I was going to get it. I'd already been denied one before because an application for one. It's a long story. I just didn't have a credit card because I hate credit card. I hate spending money that's not mine. And they had like closed my credit card without me realizing. That's how little I use my credit card. So I technically didn't have a line of credit, which is really hard when you're applying for an apartment. You're like, I don't have a credit rating, but like I don't have one because I only spend my own money. That doesn't really fly.
And it's like, I promise you, I'm financially secure. You do want to see my IMDb?
Yeah, I know. I literally had to send this landlord my IMDb and be
my God.
I definitely, this is what I do.
Like here's my IMDb. I see series, regular, series, regular.
But like, what a wanker. I was like, he's gonna, but okay. But anyway, so I had applied for that apartment. And that day I was still looking for other apartments because I was like, well, I don't know I'm going to get that. That one's kind of out of what I wanted to spend and in an area that I didn't really love. But after the accident, when my friend Brittany arrived.
You took what you could get.
She was like, hey, you got the apartment. And I remember being so, I was almost as relieved in that moment when she said you got the apartment, when they told me like they saved my leg and I could move my foot, which is really embarrassing. But I was just like,
no, but you're just like, where the fuck am I gonna live?
Yeah.
I also realized after the whole laptop thing, I couldn't. My double vision was so bad, and also brain. I wasn't allowed to watch TV for more than an hour, and I also didn't want to because my double vision was so bad. And I wasn't allowed to go on a laptop. So I couldn't have done any of this fun stuff. I just had to sit there and stare at the wall, basically. My dog was my only source of entertainment.
Yeah, but yours was also like your brain. It was just like, I sort of from here up, I had a broken rib. And like, no, I didn't end up breaking my hand. I had like all this other stuff, but it wasn't like I couldn't. I mean, the concussion made it really hard to focus on anything. So it was like really annoying. But like, I had to be on the phone to the insurance companies. I decided that it was not a good idea to tell my landlord or my potential future landlord, like, hey, I just got hit by a truck. Because I was like, I already don't have a credit rating. If I tell him that I now don't have the ability to like,
he's going to be like, who the fuck is this
He's going to be like, no. And we hadn't signed anything yet. So I sent them a message saying, hey, just a little update. Like, is the contract ready to sign or whatever? Like, I got into a small car accident. I'm in hospital, but I'll be out of here pretty quickly. And was really playing it down. I was like, my sister can come and like deliver the check and whatever. I'm still fine for an October 1st move in. This is like September 7th. This is happening. And anyway, it was just really, and I was figuring out getting my stuff from the storage unit to the apartment. I was figuring out me and my friend Jessie, who'd flown there from LA, and my friend Meg were sitting with me in hospital. I'm nodding out on tramadol, and we were like on Amazon trying to buy furniture for this empty apartment that we're going to have to move in soon.
Literally, how the fuck?
It was just insane. So Meg had other shit to be dealing with. Meg was like going and buying an AC unit and then installing the curtains and like making sure and getting the stuff from the storage unit and putting it in the apartment.
Fucking amazing friend.
Meg was like, no, Meg did that. My sister.
Oh, your sister.
Yeah,
sorry,
but my friend my friend Jesse did also. He was part of it. He was like, I mean, it was incredible.
Sister, oh my God. So your sister really stepped up.
She really did.
Yes.
That's why even when it was difficult between us, I mean, she also had no support. So she was just doing this. It was all on her. And it's incredibly stressful.
Which is hard in its own. Yeah. Like, she was your caregiver. She had to get this apartment together. Like, that's also, shout out Meg. Yeah. Like, that is also.
Yeah. She did so much.
So hard.
Yeah.
And but you've done amazing work in therapy. Shout out to whoever your therapist is.
No, I mean, yeah.
Well, no, I actually remember talking to you that it like took us both a while to find like a therapist that we like clicked with. Yeah.
Well, no, I already had mine.
Okay, you already
had. But it took me forever to find her. I had her for several years before the accident, and actually, like, she was amazing. Like, when I was in the hospital, she knew because of like my family situation. We weren't like I didn't have a lot of support, and she made herself available to me. Basically, she said, like, if you, like, in hospital, basically. Yes. So she was like, if you need to talk to someone, you can text me, and if I'm free, we can do a session.
Yes.
And like, I don't think she charged me, like, that was, so I remember like Skyping my therapist from the hospital bed, and that was like, yeah, I get like emotional thinking about it, because that really was like, I didn't have a lot
Anyone,
of
you didn't have
people,
any,
and that was like, and because I'd had her from before, it was like I didn't have to explain any of the like backstory of like, you know, why the situation was what it was. But yeah.
I had a therapist before the accident and she was great. But then when you fuck up your brain, you're like, oh no, you need a special kind of therapist to handle it, which is also really, neuropsychologists are so hard to get.
Really?
There's like this crazy wait list for them. It is, they also don't tell you that you need one. The only reason why I knew is because I had my dad. They like do not tell you like, hey, you should have this. Like the medical world is so, not doctors, not the medicinal side of it, but the business side of the medicine industry in the US, so fucked up. Like they don't tell you what you need. You're on wait list for a while. As we know, insurance fucking sucks.
The insurance thing was,
insurance is just, I said before, I obviously don't support violence. I obviously don't think it's a great idea, but I did have United, UMR, when I got had my accident. Anyway, that's it. Insurance just sucks.
It's tough, and it's sad what it does to doctors and healthcare professionals who like got into it to help people, and they end up dealing with like insurance bullshit. Like my trauma, I think I told you, my trauma coordinator, who was basically with me the whole time in hospital, cried when she told me because basically my insurance had denied inpatient rehabilitation, which they were all like, you need this. You need it in this hospital. You can't move to a rehab facility. You won't get the care you need. You'll plateau, and you won't be able to have any visitors because those places are mostly for elderly people. And that was during COVID. So you can't have any visitors. So I'd be like even more like not able to see Meg. Yeah. And so they were really upset. They didn't understand why they denied the claim, and we had to appeal it. And it got so to that was one of the reasons I'm like on the phone and the laptop, like at one point was like desperately thinking, well, how much would it cost to stay in this hospital? I asked, how much would it stay in this hospital, like pay out of pocket for me for rehab? And they said 50 grand. And I was racking my brains like, do I know anyone who could lend me 50 grand? And it's like, no, obviously I don't know anyone who could lend me 50 grand.
50 grand.
But like, and eventually we appealed it, like the head of the rehab at the hospital, we appealed it, and they allowed it. But I had to, in order to stay in the hospital, I had to prove that I could walk across the room, because they were like, if she can't walk, then there's no point in her staying here.
So you had to prove you could walk
enough, or at least with a walker.
Okay.
And I mean, that was, I couldn't, like, I had broken both legs.
Yes.
And
oh my God. Yeah, like literally.
One of them
Did you do it somehow?
The left one had because honestly, the least painful thing of all of this was the femur break.
Okay.
Because they immediately, I don't remember it. I remember the pain of the, that like bleeding out internally, basically from the artery. But they'd put a metal rod in my femur, so the bone was stabilized as soon as I woke up from the surgery. So that didn't hurt, but I'd had like massive vascular surgery on that leg. And so I wasn't allowed to weight bear on my right leg at all, because I'd broken that foot and I didn't cast. The other leg I was allowed to, but I couldn't make my foot go straight. I don't know how to, like, it could point, but I couldn't get it straight.
Okay.
Because of they'd cut through all these, sorry to be gross, they'd cut through
No. Are you kidding me? This shit that I've said on this podcast, go for it.
Okay, fine. So they'd cut through all the muscles for various, like, for the surgery, it was like deep. And I just couldn't get my calf to stretch enough to like bring my foot up. So it was kind of like that. So they had to make me a special shoe, which was really sexy, and had like, they'd stuck like this much foam on it. It was like a Velcro strap, so that my foot could kind of touch the ground.
And they were like, hobble on this.
And then a walker. And so I had to basically just like have all my strength on my arms, like holding my body strength up by my arms on this walker. And then on my tiptoe in the like foam shoe thing, put the tiniest bit of weight on my big toe, shove the metal thing forward, and then like kind of hop. And I had two massive PTs like waiting for me to fall, like, and the trauma coordinator who was like, you know, and I did that till I got, and a white sock in my mouth to chew down on for the pain. And that's the only reason I was allowed to stay in the hospital for a rehab.
Insurance is so
It is insane.
evil. But then it's also an amazing testament to yourself and myself. Aren't you so impressed with the shit that you've been able to do? Like, it's like at times, like, it's like, I needed to show up for myself and I fucking did. Like, that's amazing.
It does make you feel like...
No, you shouldn't have had to have done that. You shouldn't have had to go through it at all. That's not what I'm saying. But you did, and you did it.
Yeah. It does make you feel like, I mean, my sisters and I talk about this a lot because she has this, even though she hasn't, but you know, she had the trauma of like hearing about it and trying to get there. But we talk about this, how we're both like really good in emergencies. Like she is, so it's like, it's almost like she lives her life as if everything is an emergency and the anxiety or whatever, so do I. And then when an actual emergency
that's
happens...
called PTSD.
Well, yeah. But then when something actually, when the shit actually hits the fan, she fucking excels in those situations.
Like, I'm good at this.
Yeah, it's like, I know how to handle this. Like, this is crazy. I can do this.
Locked.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
But like, if I have to like do a pitch to like 2 people, I'm like, oh my God, this is a, you know, crazy life, you know, threatening thing. The
drama.
But yes, it does make me feel like very capable of insane things.
Yeah. I was talking with someone, I forgot when, but I was talking about how I'm not sure if I want to have kids, but I was going to freeze my eggs just in case.
Yeah.
Like, and I wanted to do it soon because the younger you do it, the better. And just like, you know, I wanted to give myself the option. And she was telling me about how painful it was and how you really shouldn't do it unless you want to have kids. And she was talking about these terrible shots in your stomach that you have to give yourself. And I was like, bitch, I already did that for 3 months to not get blood clots. Been there, done that.
You be so funny.
Like I was like, been there, done that. You think that's bad? Did that when I was 23.
I think,
oh my God.
And also your pain threshold is going to be so different to someone else's,
my
right?
My pain threshold is crazy. People are always amazed by it because I like terribly burned myself one time and I didn't even notice. And then like at the end of dinner, I was like, oh, I did that. And there was one time I like severely sprained my ankle, like it was swollen out to here. And I didn't even notice. And I walked 2 miles on it. And then when I took my shoe off, I was like, oh, when I fell, I did that. Like the pain threshold is just like,
actually, I jumped over. I broke my foot after. Yeah. And it was
you
like
broke it after?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Did I not tell you about?
No. How did that happen?
That we were in a bar.
Leave your legs alone.
We were in, you know, before this, I had only broken one bone ever. It was my finger a little bit.
Things changed.
We were in a bar for my birthday, the first birthday post-accident. Oh. And I just like started to make friends in New York. And I was like, it's like a group of people. It was so nice.
When is your birthday?
4th of June.
4th of June.
Yeah.
Gemini or Taurus?
Gemini.
It's
weird because I'm not into horoscopes, but that is weird because I'm a twin. And apparently Mary Kate and Ashley also Geminis. But yes, I was in this bar and everything was really nice. And at one point there was, it was right around the time there had been a bunch of shootings. And so people were nervous about like active shooter situations. And there was an open patio at the front of the bar, like a big open bit. And people were sitting on the street out the front. And someone shot a gun 5 times, very close. You know, it's like, okay, that's right outside. And the people who could see the shooter, like stampeded into the bar, like away from him. And it sounded like the things were getting closer. Everyone was like throwing themselves on the floor, like to hide, running out back into the beer garden. But there was no escape except over this, like, was it that tall? It was probably this tall with like I mean, you just couldn't climb it because it didn't have slats like this.
Yeah.
And so I was with my best friend at the time from England who had come for a visit for my birthday, and she got to see this, you know. Anyway, so she boosted me over this thing, and I had only had my ACL done like 2 months or something before that. So in trying to like save my left leg from being hurt during the landing, I landed really awkwardly on my right foot and broke it. But I went to another bar with them all afterwards to decompress from this horrible thing. I was like, oh, my foot kind of hurts. Like this hurts a lot. But I wasn't thinking it was broken. Went home, went to bed, got up, went to physical therapy the next day. And he was like, what are you doing here? Go to the hospital. This is like a broken foot.
Oh my God.
And I had to go back to the same ER where I'd been taken. And I actually ran into my trauma coordinator.
Hey guys.
Literally. She's like, what are you doing here?
Hey guys, I'm back.
But I got star treatment because I knew her.
Before I had gotten hurt, the summer after my freshman year of college, broke my wrist. And my parents, when they listen to this podcast episode, are going to hear a big confession because they didn't think. I was drunk on a jet ski. They're going to be like, oh, she was drunk. And I flipped the jet ski and I broke my wrist. And they didn't know that I was drunk when I was driving the jet ski. So that's going to be the big reveal. You were driving
the jet ski?
Yes. Listen, it's crazy how you think you're invincible. And then something like this happens. When you were young, I was 19. You think you're fucking invincible. You think you're fucking invincible. But the mechanics of how I fell would have happened if I was sober or not. So there were 3 people on the jet ski, which we're not supposed to do. Clarification, we're not supposed to do that. And when there's multiple people on a jet ski, you have to take the turns wider. I didn't know that. I'd only ever jet skied with just myself. So I didn't take the turn wider. It flipped and we all fell off. But the reality is I would have made that mistake sober. So it didn't really make a difference if I was drunk or not. But anyway, I broke my wrist. And I was 19, and my friend, Emma, still like my best friend, I was like, oh my God, my wrist. And it was like during the day, obviously, she was like, take a shot and keep going. And I wound up staying out like the whole night. And then the next morning, I couldn't zip up my pants. And I was like, I think this may be a little fucked up. But I had an interview for an internship at a Broadway casting office. And I also had a hair appointment. And I was getting my highlights done. Yeah. And I also had dinner with a college friend. So I was like, no, I can't. And my parents were like, you should really go to the ER. Because they were like, you probably broke it because I couldn't zip up my pants. And I was like, I have a lot to do today. And then so 3 days later, I finally went to the ER. And I was like, I think this is broken.
And by that point, had it swollen up? Or had it...
It was really swollen. Luckily, they didn't have to re-break it. But they told me, they were like, had you waited 12 more hours, we would have had to re-break it.
To make sure it hit
the
right way.
Oh. And that was the first bone I broke, other than fingers. I'd broken fingers a lot because I played softball a lot when I was younger. But that was the first bone I broke. And that wasn't fingers. Prior to getting, 15 bones fucking
Oh, wait, I did also break. Yeah, sorry, I lied. Yes. It wasn't 1 bone. It was 2. Yes. It was also my wrist. But,
part of that, I also, when I was in London, broke my hand punching a guy in the face. That deserved it. I was at a bar and he grabbed my ass. I was like, please go away. He came up and did it again. I was like, please go away. He came back. He did it again this time, but I was wearing a skirt. He shoved his fingers up my skirt and tried to finger me basically. And I turned around and I punched him in the face.
I feel like
that was deserved. That was deserved. But I was fascinated because I was in England and I went to the ER and they cussed my hand and I was like, all right, how much do I owe? And they were like, nothing. It's free here. Right. Wait, and I was like, wait, what? They didn't charge me.
I didn't know whether that was a thing for if you didn't live there.
Yeah, no, they didn't charge me. Oh, we might have. Abroad, we had some weird form. The school, my college, USC, gave us some sort of health insurance. Okay. So that was, But they didn't charge me. And I was like, wild how this country works.
I mean, that's something that's just not in my head. You get hit by a truck or you get,
they take care of you.
And then you just have to deal with how shit it is that you've been hit by a vehicle.
Yeah.
But not then oh my God, how the hell am I going to afford
these finances?
Yeah.
And it's
and you're not working.
Yeah.
So it's.
And it's I am not supposed to say who hit me with the car, but me and my editor already talked about how we're going to like do curse word bleeps over this part. So it's going to be funny. But there's currently this thing, Prop 29, that was just passed in California like a little bit after I got hurt. And it says that people who are in my situation that are hit by cars by any form of app driver, so like who hit me, it's going to be fun bleeps over there, you're not allowed to sue. And I always say, like, you're not allowed to sue. They're independent contractors. They're not allowed to press charges. You're only allowed to sue the person who hit you. Just are the person who hit you doesn't have any fucking money, or else why would they be driving for this app? So, I say all the time, I'm like, I can't imagine being 23, having, because I was a COVID grad, not had a full-time income for a year, having this crazy bill. My hospital bill pre-insurance was over $6 million. Post-insurance, it was like $2 million, I believe. And having to pay, you're not allowed to say, you have to pay for it. Like, it's insane what we expect people to do. Like, how the fuck is that fair? That you're 23 and now you're millions of dollars in debt. How the fuck is that fair?
It's really crazy.
Yeah,
it means some people can like recover better than others.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
No, it's the most absurd that the business side, again, not the medicinal doctors, they truly are healers, but like nurses are truly healers, nurse practitioners. But the business side, it's so fucked up. It wants to profit off of people's health, and it literally determines that only the 1% are entitled to their health.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, and the stress of worrying about finances when your like life savings are basically dwindling before your eyes because of the money you're spending on
if you even had
stuff. If you had it, even that's if you had insurance.
Yes.
And you're still, even if you do have insurance, you're still paying the copays, all the things that everybody already knows, but
still paying the copays. And it's like eventually you'll be reimbursed, but not yet. Like it's then another thing is, because I wanted to talk about the PTSD and CPTSD, just the mental component of like going through this experience. Because I think we both started finally addressing our PTSD also at around the same time.
I mean, I vehemently was like, I don't have PTSD for
so
long. I was like, oh, it's amazing. I don't even have PTSD.
I, for so long, was like, isn't it amazing that I like don't have debilitating PTSD? And like, I would sometimes say I had PTSD because I was like, I just imagine I must, and like my emotions can be a little weird and sometimes I'm depressed, but that's it. That's it. But I was like, it's amazing. I don't debilitate. It's so great. And then it was only this winter, spring, it was like February when I finally went to a neuropsychologist that my parents made me go to.
Yeah.
And they were like, yo, your PTSD is terrible. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I remember you saying, she was like, you were like, yeah, I don't. And she was like, you have debilitating PTSD.
She was like, it's actually so bad. And I was like, it is?
Yeah. It's weird because like this trauma brain thing that I think it's almost part of like survival mode, that you go into this mode where you're like, I've got shit to deal with. I actually can't deal with that. I've got to call the insurance company. I've got to call my doctor. I've got to do this. I've got to get this medical record. I've got to do that. I've got to figure out my apartment. There were so many things. This is what I was saying. I was like not bored in hospital or during recovery. I didn't think there were enough time, like hours in the day
to do everything,
to deal with this. And I think the PTSD or whatever it is kind of like, it's like anything starts off adaptive as a solution to a problem that your body's like, you need to keep going and not actually address any of this stuff. And then eventually becomes maladaptive when like it's fucking ruling your whole life and you no longer have to be in like go survival mode, but your brain can't get out of it then because it happened. And it's like, no, I'm still, bad shit is around every corner.
Exactly. Like my therapist, what she said to me is she was talking about how I was running, which I never like really thought I was running. And then I have another funny story. But she was talking about, she was like, for a while, your brain had to do that. She was like, you had to run from surgery to surgery to procedure to procedure. Yeah. And she goes, if you had actually processed what was going on, you would have shut down. And your brain knew you did not have time to shut down. Yeah. You had to keep going through everything.
Yep.
And she was saying that now, because now my surgeries are done. And and this is what my parents noticed. She was like, you were looking for the next thing to run to.
Yeah.
Because as soon as my surgeries ended, I moved. I traveled. I started this podcast. I started a brand. Then I, for a while, said I was going to live in Italy for a few months to get my citizenship, which I'm still going to do.
Wait, you got your citizenship?
I'm going to, once I live there, I'll get my citizenship for a couple months, which I'm still going to do that. But next year, I was still going to do that. And I was going to, she was like, you are looking for the next thing. She was like, your brain knows running. So you're looking for the next thing to run to. And she said, she was like, in 10, 15 years, you're going to fucking burn out. And she was like, I'm so glad that you came to me before you did burn out. And then the funny thing that I was going to say is a little bit after I started doing this, I was taking a class at my gym that I take a lot. And this guy, it was like part of it is running on the treadmill. And this guy that I always see in class, he was like, you're like really fast. You're like, and I was like, I am, because I don't go because I have a weak ankle from my accident, from where I broke my leg. I don't go above 10 and a half miles per hour on the treadmill. And some people are, for when we're doing interval sprints are going fucking 12, 13, 14, whatever. So I was like, not that fast. I don't go above 10 and a half. And he was like, yeah, but after the sprints, he was like, most people walk, but you jog after the sprints. Like you keep jogging and you do the fast runs. Like you always stay running. And I was like, okay. He was like, hey, listen, all of us who are good at this class, we're all running from something, right? And it was right after I had started working with this therapist, and he was like, whatever you're running from, you're running really fucking fast and really fucking far. And it was right after I'd started working with this therapist, and I was like, well, apparently, yes, I am. I was like, apparently I am running, so...
That's quite profound that guy at the gym.
And he was making a joke about running, and I was like, yeah.
But this is a real thing. I feel like some people spend their whole life, and it's not, you don't necessarily have to have PTSD to spend. I mean, I'm sure yours is worse, but like,
let's not compare.
Just like never stopping. Like they keep working, they keep dating, they keep traveling,
don't stop.
They've got all these things, or keep earning money, keep doing it, like hustle, go. And it's like, what's there in this sounds so wanky, but like what's there in the silence when you stop working? As someone who works all the time, when you stop working, when you stop dating, when you stop chasing like unavailable lovers, when you stop doing all of those things, like it. Yeah, I feel like I'm giving you psychology 101, but it's true.
Yeah.
And then you actually had something fucking crazy happen to you.
I mean, we both did.
Yes. But then you're just like, it's like, I remember I used to get really pissed off when people would say to me, like, have you absorbed this though? Have you like really taken the time to like absorb everything? And anger was a big thing for me in general afterwards, as it is, I'm sure, with you too, for PTSD.
Yeah.
But I used to be like, do you know how much of a luxury that is? Like that I just haven't had
the time.
And they were well-meaning. They did not. So this is not to say anything bad about anyone who said that to me, because it was said with love and care.
Yeah.
But I was just so like, you have no idea how many things I've had to do. And if I wasn't like this, I wouldn't. Like I used to go to, before I went to bed at night, I would like make coffee, like everything ready so that I didn't have to think about anything. I could just like go the next day to go to the medical appointment, get the thing, talk to whatever legal stuff, like everything.
Well, what you also learn going through this kind of experience is just something I want to say is a lot of things that people say that they mean purely well-meaning are actually quite the opposite. And they have the opposite effect. And I'm still learning about that. Like I still have that happening where like I get praised so often for how strong I am and how resilient, how proud I need to be about it. And my therapist that I'm currently working with, she's like, that's actually, she was like, it's all well-meaning, but that's actually like, you shouldn't have to be strong all the time. You shouldn't, it's great that you have got this, but you shouldn't have ever had to. And she was like, and she talks about how I put a mask on, and I put a mask on of like being really positive. And she's like, it's so great that you have that mentality and it's carried you through. And I'm like, yeah, well, it all works out. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm doing this. And she's like, but she was like, both truths should exist.
Yeah.
Like, you're also allowed to be like, this was really fucking terrible. This was really sad. And she was like, what all this has done to you, as well-meaning as it is, what part of it, and it's not just people, it's also yourself. You're like in this mask of positivity and never letting yourself be
like angry and sad
and just
like
be,
grieve the person that you
used
were.
to be, and the person that, because there is a lot to grieve about the person that you used to be.
And the relationships, like
oh my God.
all, I mean, this is a whole other thing, but
I lost so many relationships through this, and
it will literally.
I'm still as I've learned recently, I'm still losing relationships because of this whole thing.
It just changes your whole perspective. It in loads of good ways as well. But it's really that was one of the things I found like really painful in the first couple years, other than like the family stuff and all of that, was like, I mean, that's kind of tied into it. It's like, you know, that expression, what is it? If you want to know who your friends are, have a baby. And then I'm like, no, if you want to know who your friends are, like, get hit by a truck.
Literally, if you want to know who your friends are, get hit by a car. Yeah.
It's like, and that's not any, you know, I'm not, but it's just, it will show you with like painful clarity sometimes.
Painful clarity.
What your relationships are.
Yeah, it really painful. And like, to an extent, there is a portion of that is good because people show the fuck up for you.
Yeah, the other side.
The other side of that, but that is, I found a smaller portion than like people are inherently, especially millennials and Gen Z, inherently selfish. Part of that is social media. People can be inherently selfish, and like not everyone is going. When you have an accident like this, you're allowed to take. Like relationships are all about give and take. And when you have this relationship, you're allowed to take.
Yeah.
And some people are not willing to give that to you.
Or they like don't have it in them.
Or they don't have it. They just don't have it.
They have stuff going on that's like means they just can't.
It's not always a bad thing. Like they're the devil. Like they just don't have it. They don't have the capacity to give to you in the way that you need to be given to.
Yeah. And it. Yeah, it's like some of the relationships that were sort of faded after this accident. If you'd have asked me a few years ago, some of them would have been like, yeah, I could see us like one day maybe like drifting apart or something. But a lot of them I would have. I mean,
I lost
I
lost a handful of people that I thought were like, not too many, but just a few people that I thought were like besties. Like I thought were always going to be there. And like, that's true. There were a few people that I'm like, I probably could have predicted we were going to grow out of touch at some point. But I lost a few people that I really thought were going to be at my wedding, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows you like, I would say it's like a bit like, I've obviously not experienced like an insane level of fame.
Yeah.
Is having an accident like this is the same as fame. In some ways, it shows
I don't
you.
know. Generation 2 of skins will always be really famous to me.
I feel like it shows you the both things.
Yeah.
Big accident, bit of fame, show you the best of people and the worst of people. And you have to like. There's a Dolly Parton quote I really want to, it's like, what is it? If you want the rainbow, you have to put up the rain. But if you want to see the best in people, as cheesy as it sounds, like you also probably going to see like the worst of people.
Yeah.
And something like this, it's like people's responses to trauma is also really,
people have a very interesting, and everyone responds differently.
It's always to do with them.
It's always
not to do with you.
How people treat you is a reflection of themselves. Totally. It's never to do with you.
I had this whole thing for a while where because I was like new in New York afterwards. So I was like learning to like figure out walking again, going to PT all the time. And I was doing speech and comprehension therapy.
I had to do speech, and cognitive,
did you go to Rusk?
No.
Okay, so I was having memory issues and they thought I might have, they were like, you shouldn't still be having memory issues from concussion. Like, don't go do a neuropsych evaluation. And that's when I found out I had PTSD.
I've done a ton of neuropsych evals. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so, wait, what was my point? Oh yeah, so I was doing all these appointments, speech and comprehension, physical therapy, all of this stuff. so I was new in New York.
Yeah.
And I kind of had a schedule just given to me because I had all these medical things. And in some way I was like pleased for that. Not that I wanted to do it, but it was like, okay, I'm showing up to rooms where I've got a network of people who are checking in with me, seeing if I'm okay. Like I felt weirdly supported by strangers. But I would go, I was trying to make friends in New York with like friends of friends who happened to live in New York. And I would show up like in a wheelchair or on the crutches and like laughing off this thing that had just happened to me and like chatting about it. And it, I think understandably freaked people out sometimes.
Yes.
Because I was not processing the trauma of it at all. But then to see the differences between the people that really could like hold that and the people that just like they just couldn't. And
they just could. I say all the time where it's like you realize how bad things are when like I make a comment or a joke about my accident. I'm like, ha ha ha. And some people are like, they look at me so horrified. And I'm like, what?
I really,
guys, it's funny.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, it's funny. Like, laugh. Like,
and it's part of the like, yeah.
Which deflecting with humor is also a thing. I was going to say,
part of the thing, like my thing straight away was I was, wow, what a crazy story.
So,
like,
I
couldn't make this shit up kind of thing.
Because I mean, you can't.
And people were sort of understandably like, what? And so I think I would go, well, two things. When I was like sat alone in the silence, once it started to calm down a little bit, that's when I was like, oh shit, and I got diagnosed with PTSD and blah, blah, blah. Then I started like sitting with it, but then it was like so much. Like suddenly you're dealing with like a year of stuff that you weren't able to deal with or more. But I had this thing back to the like, how people respond to trauma. I would go for coffees with like friends of friends to be like, oh, we both live in New York. Maybe we should be friends kind of thing. And not always. And they were all kind and lovely. No one was like an asshole. But just sometimes I would notice this thing where they would say something really strange. Like, oh, what was it? Like really, like they would make like big sort of generalizations about life and death when I wasn't really talking about that. I was just, I don't know, it was a strange thing that kept happening. And I was talking to my physical therapist about it. And he was like, well, yeah, because you've basically become like the Grim Reaper. You're like a sign of the like, what's it called? Like the delicateness of life or whatever. Like you nearly died. And so someone's sitting opposite you and just, they're probably like, you're a reflection then of their own mortality. And depending on how okay that person is with the idea of their own mortality is how okay and comfortable they are going to be with you, someone who's become a symbol of like life being over or potentially being over that quickly. And that helped me a lot because I was like, oh, right. Then I started to see like, okay, this person like doesn't really think about stuff like this. I don't get the vibe, not in a judgy way, but I just don't know that they think about things like that, and therefore they can't really go there with me, and even being around me I think makes them a little bit sorry, that was a bit of a tangent.
No, but I so relate to that. I was like, I literally just journaled about this because like part of what I'm doing right now for the trauma work is I get prompts and I have to journal, and it's really interesting because I didn't want to handwrite anything because my hand shakes and my handwriting sucks. So I've only basically typed since. And my therapist was like, no, you have, because handwriting helps you process. And sure enough, these things that come out, I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think I felt that way. And one of the things that came out was that I felt like when I moved back here and I would try to see people, one of the things that came out was like, it's almost like people are scared of me. Like, it was almost like people were like scared of me.
Yeah.
Like the brain injury. Like, it was like, it's weird. Like people, when they're confronted with you, they handle it very, some people are so in awe of you. And then some people are like, almost scared, and then some people are like,
and nervous to talk about it because I think they're just nervous to say the wrong thing. But then with like someone like you or me who's so like clearly open about talking about it, in fact I was like desperate to talk about it sometimes because I was like, this is like the only thing I'm
That's
dealing
going
with
on
right
in
now.
my
Like I have
life.
writing a bit, but like at that time, but I was like, mostly I'm dealing with medical shit.
Yes.
I'm dealing with like, legal stuff. I'm dealing with
Yes.
all of that stuff. And because I was new in a new city, I was not with like old ride or die friends. My ride or die friends came, they all came,
Yeah.
like pretty much, and stayed on my like shitty, uncomfortable spare bed.
Yes.
That I got off of Amazon.
Oh my God.
And they, but they couldn't be there all the time. Like there was certain time. And then I was like, oh, I can't talk about this with people. It's too much to just like, someone's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, well my groin,
yes.
Veins are doing great. Like, it's just a lot for and it's a lot for someone that you don't know really well. And that was something that was really tough. I was always pleased that my accident happened in New York, not LA, because I'm much happier. I like that city much more. And I think if I had to be stuck anywhere, I'd rather it be, no offense, but I'd rather be New York than LA, just for me. But all my friends were in LA or London. And that was really tricky. I felt like I didn't want to be like the sympathy case that people were uncomfortable around.
Yes.
But then also I feel like one of the other tricky things was with PTSD was I just couldn't relate to anyone.
I talk a lot about that in my book. Like for the first year or two after my accident, I wasn't going on dates. Like everyone was talking, everyone was talking about their new job or like going on dates or all these things. And it's like, I wasn't doing any of that. And it was also like, I never had anything positive to add to the conversation. Like nothing was really going good for me. So it was like, I felt like I was energetically heavy on people. And people don't like heavy stuff because I was like, I don't have anything positive to add. Like, I was like, I just have really terrible shit.
But it's also, again, it's tough because I also went through it. So now when people talk to me about injuries, I'm like, oh, which hospital did you go to? What like trauma brain turns on? And I get really interested.
Yeah, you're really interested. But then also sometimes you get people who are, like everyone's pain is their own pain. But sometimes you get people who are so complaining about some health thing that's like so micro compared to what you went through. And it's like, shut up.
But then there's the other thing where I'm like, which has happened. I was just with a friend this morning and I love him, and my sister does this too. Whenever they I'm like, how are you doing? And they're like, something in it. Oh, my foot had this thing. Oh my God, sorry. And obviously it's like nothing like what you went through. And I'm like, you don't have to excuse like you can talk about pain.
I'm the same way. Like whenever people say that to me, I don't like it because I'm like, can you please treat me like a normal person?
Yeah, but I get it because I'd rather them be like that than be like, oh my God, this like tiny thing again and again and again. And I'm like, and they're not even thinking.
Exactly. Or it's like, I remember distinctly because it was just so clear. It was December 2022 when I had the really bad eye surgery that caused a lot of my trauma. And I forget who it was, but someone was like, was being very woe is me and like venting to me, like so upset about like a boy problem they were having with a situationship. I don't even remember what it was. It was obviously someone that wasn't significant, like the guy. And they were and my eye was stitch closed. And they were like venting to me about this. And like my eye was stitch closed. And like I just had brain surgery, scar removal. And that was and I was like, yeah, that sucks. Like I remember, like it's also like read the room a little bit. Like it's also like read the room.
Yeah, like who is in a place where they can take on like maybe there's like someone else in that moment that they could have complained to about.
Like right now, complain to me about all the boys. Like let's go. Or like when I was in a good place, like in terms of my recovery, like I had it recently, I had a surgery.
Yeah,
like go for it. Like complain to me about whatever your bitch ass coworker, like the boy who cheated on you. Like I welcome the complaints. Everybody can only understand their own trauma and their own struggles. But like at times like that where it's like, I'm in a wheelchair. It's like read the room.
Yeah. There have been
like read the room.
Definitely.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you because you can't really tell visually
Yes.
that anything happened to you.
Yes, I know. It's a mess.
How do you, which is great.
It's a double-edged sword.
But that's what I wanted to talk about.
It's such a double-edged sword. Because sometimes it's great because it's like nice that you get to blend in. It's like also like I don't want everyone to look at me as like that's the girl who went through this crazy house. I'm also incredibly thankful that like I'm still a slam piece. Like that's like it's all good things like in that regard. But the bad regard is like when my brain injury is acting up, which it's like acting up basically 24/7 because I'm like always overstimulated and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like when it really acts up in an alarming way, it's like people just regard me as like people who don't understand, which is most people, especially strangers that don't know my story, regard me as like crazy bitch or super like mean. And it's like, no, do you not understand what I'm going through? And like something that I've really had to deal with is like wanting accommodations for certain things and not necessarily being granted them or like even getting in trouble like that I was rude or like I had a tone in regards to like whatever because I wasn't being given what and like there is that point where it's like I should be treated like someone who's in a wheelchair, like in regards to that. Like that's the kind of care in terms of a brain injury. That's the kind of care, and not in terms of like I need the exact same accommodations, but the same. That's how my handicap, my disability should be treated. But you can't see it, so it's like people. I think. Also, people kind of expect it to just be over. And I actually had my physiatrist that I'll on here for the premiere episode of this thing. And what he was saying about brain injury was like, I was like, thank God. He was like, it's not an event. He was like, that's the main thing I wish that people knew. It's not an event. It's not this over and done with thing. It is forever. You have this disability. It's going to present, it will maybe get better, but maybe also you'll have something come up. Like I know someone who randomly started having a seizure disorder 10 years after their brain injury. I know somebody who developed a hand tremor like 20 years after their injury. Like it's like these things come up. It's not over. It's not an event. It's like I will always have this. It will always affect me. Like something that we were just talking about is like I can't work a 9 to 5. I can't work those hours in the day. And after I record a podcast episode, I'm fucking exhausted and I'm tapped out for the day. And you might be like, it's only 2 hours you recorded that episode or an hour even you recorded that. Like, what do you mean? But it's like, you don't understand like that just being on for that long.
And you've got double whammy. You've got a brain injury and PTSD.
Yes.
Because I feel like PTSD does that. And then brain injury probably does that like times 100.
Exactly. So it's just like, I say all the time, I'm like, specifically about the exhaustion, I have not felt well rested a single day before my accident. It's just a matter of how tired I am. And I present like a person who has a lot of energy. I'm a Sagittarius rising. And I
don't know what that means, but
I know. I present like a person who has a lot of energy. So people are always like, you're so peppy and so bubbly and all stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how the fuck I do that because internally I just feel like I want to lie down at all times.
No, I understand, but I don't understand the brain injury part. But like,
I think it's definitely partially the actor training.
The actor training,
my love really of the camera. I'm always ready to be on.
You would never know, but that probably ties into the like double-edged sword of like you would never know that you're feeling exhausted inside.
Exactly, you would never know. And then something about my therapist is like, there's this guy right now who I'm currently seeing. I don't know if when this ends, if he's going to be around. Like, this is definitely going to premiere.
Like dating him or
dating? No, it's dating, but like I mean, like very, very early stages, like seeing. So like that's why I'm saying I don't know if he's going to be around when this thing premieres. But something he said to me was like, because he didn't know I'd been hurt or whatever, but then like. It's not something I like to lead with or anything, but you follow me on Instagram, like you can obviously find stuff out. And he said to me, and he meant it as a compliment that it doesn't show on me. That he meant it as a compliment that it doesn't show, and like he would have no idea that anything happened. And I was talking to the therapist neuropsychologist that I'm currently working with about that. And she was like, see, that's something that again is well-meaning.
Yeah.
she was like, I know it was only well-meaning. And she was like, and you probably took it as a compliment. And I did.
Yeah.
I did. And she was like, but that it's so downplaying what you went through. And it's also so unfair to you and so unfair to the invisible disability aspect of it that like no one can see what went through it. So it's a double-edged sword. It's like, it's so good and it's also so bad.
Yeah, no, totally. And I sometimes feel like, especially with the PTSD stuff, which again, I denied heavily.
So we both did.
I was like, no, I'm fine. Look, I'm not having like memories I don't even remember that accident.
Like,
and now I'm like,
so incredible. I was like, I don't know why people claim this PTSD shit. I guess my brain's just stronger than other people.
I was just, and then looking back, I'm like, I would like, I mean, I was, for obvious reasons, crossing roads for like, it's only started to die down now, and I'm 4 years out.
Yeah.
Crossing roads. And there was just, I mean, it was such classic PTSD signs. Like I would hear a child laugh and to me it would sound like a scream and I would think he just got run over. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It made being out in the world in New York, and I was having to go to Manhattan like 4 times a week, crossing these big roads on a cane, and and having like cold sweats, being like in the middle of a big street, being like, am I gonna faint? Am I like Anyway, jumpiness, like, and I wanted to ask you, because one of the things that I think comes with that double-edged sword you're talking about people not being able to see anything, like how trauma doesn't, and PTSD doesn't just relate to exactly the area that you were like cars, for example. It's not just about cars or trucks and words. It's definitely about that.
Yes, but it's also, for me, a big one is being left alone. My fear of abandonment has skyrocketed. It's a fear of being left alone. And the reason why is, which my neuropsychologist explained to me, is because I don't remember this week, but there was like a week or 2 in the hospital that I was awake. I think it was just 1. And my memory, that's why I don't remember it, because the brain, it's not like it just turns on. Like my memory wasn't really, so like I remembered things for a couple hours and that was it. So my mom, when she had to leave inpatient, like for the end of the day, visiting hours were over, she had to leave the hospital. She'd be like, I'm going home to sleep. Like I will be back in the morning. And I'd be like, okay, but I wouldn't remember that. So in the morning, I would wake up. I wouldn't remember what had happened to me. I would just know that there were tubes everywhere. There were casts everywhere. I felt terrible. I was in a hospital and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And when my mom came in, I'd be like, where were you? Like, what happened? Like, what's going on? So now when I think I'm being left alone, like it happened to me in a situation at a bar. It happened, I forget other times that it's happened, but I freak the fuck out because my fight or flight gets triggered really easy because I also have a frontal lobe injury. It's a double.
You have
all the layers, and I freak the fuck out. And I've gotten so upset with friends, and I've ended a couple of friendships with people who like are not able to sort of understand and just are like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And just like, or like, it's not like I do this all the time. I mean, like now I've done this like the last time I did it was last February. Like, but it's like, I would occasionally have those instances out in public where I'd fucking freak out. Not many, but I would occasionally have them. And people who, again, the invisible disability are like, this girl's fucking crazy. I don't want to deal with this. She doesn't have anything going on anymore. The accident was years ago. Like she's fine, but not an excuse. But then I remember one time, a friend said to me when we were talking after the fact, and I have a very good relationship with this friend, all as well. He's somebody who very much understands and has been very patient with me. But he said to me, he was like, I'm sorry that you felt abandoned or you felt like you were being left alone. And because again, it was before I'd started doing the work in therapy. This incident is actually what sparked me finally doing it. Is I was like, I wasn't scared of being abandoned. I wasn't scared of being left alone. Blah, blah, blah. I didn't get it. And then when I started doing the work with she was like, no. She was like, your head doesn't remember, but your body remembers.
Yes.
And your body is terrified of abandonment and is terrified of being left alone. And those situations are going to trigger the PTSD.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden, all these other instances that had happened to me since this accident made sense. Where I was like, oh, my fear of abandonment, my anxious attachment style, I'm currently trying to make it secure and I'm doing a good job. I'm doing a good job. But like I developed a really bad anxious attachment style and it all comes back to this.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
To me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that you also felt that, because I thought that like mine is not so much like fear of being I guess it is kind of fear of being abandoned, but more of like this thing happened and a lot of the people I expected to like show up weren't. And that actually was more, I think, caused more long-term like issues than the actual injury stuff, which the injury was bad. And I don't know if I would have felt so scared to be alone if I wasn't so physically vulnerable. And again, not to...
Well, yeah.
Now,
I was just going to relate to that. Another thing that I noticed because of this conversation with this friend, it actually made me get really clear about this, and I'm currently worked on it, brought it up to my neuropsychologist, is that I have a subconscious ingrained belief that everyone is ready to drop me at all times because so many people didn't show up or stop me. I have an ingrained belief that everyone is ready to drop me at all times. So when I have a really bad fight with a friend, which again, doesn't happen a lot, but the couple times I've had one of these moments, it's always when I've had one of these moments. I can remember two distinct times. It's not a lot, but the couple times where this comes up, I'm just like, okay, friendship canceled. It's done. I don't even want to have a conversation. Like, goodbye. And like, it's because I have this belief where I'm like, well, you can't drop me if I drop you first.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think everybody's ready to drop me at all times. When really, I'm a very forgiving person. I'm not ready to drop people at all times. Quite the opposite. But I think everyone else is ready to drop me at all times. So as soon as there's a really bad fight, or I think a friend is real, I'm like, you can't drop me if I drop you first. And clearly you're trying to drop me.
Yeah. It makes sense though. And also I guess I didn't fully comprehend until it happened how being physically vulnerable, like my brother had a lot of very bad back stuff when he was younger. And he always used to say to me, like, at that time, I'm not strong. I'm like, I have to be strong. I have to be strong. And I was like, Ben, it doesn't matter that you're not strong. Like you don't need to be strong right now. And when this happened to me, I was like, I totally get what he was talking about.
No, I so get it.
You're so vulnerable when you can't like run. My thing, I still can't run. The thing in your head of like, if anything happens right now, I am stuck. I cannot save myself. I can't get out of this situation. I'm so physically vulnerable. Then suddenly other people not being around gets like the sort of fear of that gets like inflated so much more because you're like, I really need people around. I really need to feel like someone's going to look after me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that thing that you were saying, like people not knowing, when I cross roads now, I feel really nervous because I do feel like drivers think I will speed up to get out of the way if they keep going at the speed they're going. And sometimes I'll freeze in the middle of the road because I can see a bike coming, for example, and the bike is thinking like, oh, she'll just speed up if I keep going at the speed. They don't know because I don't look like someone who can't run or jump.
You can't.
And I know I can't get out of the way quickly enough, so I just freeze. Yeah. And anyway, that was just something.
No, but it's the little things where it's like, I actually can't do that.
Yeah.
Like it's so like, so I'm not going to.
And
be able to like, it's like, and it seems like you are able to do all these things that it's like, actually, I can't.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, and I have one person in my life who I remember, but it's just this thing that he doesn't seem to understand why I'm scared of crossing roads. And I can't really fathom why anyway. And it's just that thing of people thinking like, well, it's been 4 years. There are no cars around. Like,
exactly. Like it's people like think like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Like sort of thing. And like, they can't, like why you have like certain weird little fears.
Yes.
They
and so
don't get it.
it
Yeah.
doesn't just go in that arena. So like I had this thing recently, I was in Florida with my partner, and I was asked to go by the group we were with to go on a boat with them. And my injury didn't happen on a boat. Like I didn't have a fear of boats before. My fear is now just like, I feel like when something like this happens to you, your general sense that bad things generally don't happen or are not going to happen to me, that I think most people go around with that sort of in their head.
I know.
It goes.
I say, yeah, just because of something, I say never, just because something has a low chance of happening doesn't mean it won't. Yeah.
And that's what part of like the work of like recovering from trauma stuff is, just trying to battle with this idea that feels very logical. Like, yeah, sometimes 1 in a million crazy things do happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting on this boat and this woman doesn't understand why, like, I don't want to get in the water. I'm get nervous when there's like weather that comes in, and I had to in the end say like, like I just have a lot of, I'm now scared of freak accidents.
Yes.
Because I was in this freak accident, and they don't feel like as freak to me as they might have seemed to someone else. They don't seem as random or like impossible.
Yeah.
And that's something that I have found myself frustrated with people. Like sometimes, like, can you really not imagine why someone who had this 1 in a million thing happen to them might be scared of other 1 in a million things happen to them?
Exactly. Like I was in Cabo with my family in May, and I can't go on boats because it bothers my head. That's another thing that I learned out, but that I learned the hard way while I was there. But a small little freak thing is we went snorkeling, right? And you put on the goggle, you have the whole breather thing. That terrified me. I couldn't do it. I could not do it.
Oh, interesting.
That terrified me.
Oh, do you think because of the trach?
I don't know if it's because of the trach. I don't, just having something on the comedy, it scared me. I could snorkel. I did it for like 5 minutes just to say I did it. And I was terrified the entire time.
Yeah.
I was like, I never want to do that again. Where it's like, it's just these weird things where it's like, I snorkeled before I got hurt.
Yeah.
But now it's like, who has a fear of snorkeling?
Yeah.
Where it's like now just that being on my face and maybe the I assumed the trach. I was like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
But it's so weird. These just little things that come up. So to everyone with your life with significant PTSD or CPTSD, give them fucking grace.
That's the thing. It's like they have to take control over like what they can control. But then, it's like that. Yeah, give them a bit of grace.
Give them grace. Just give people grace.
Yeah.
How art has helped you through if it did help you through your accident, which reading and writing seem to have helped you a lot.
Yeah.
And two, what are you up to now? Tell everyone. Yeah.
So yes, reading and writing were like my saviors. I don't know how you did it. Not being able to, I'm assuming with the brain injury, you couldn't write. I don't know.
Not for a bit.
That saved my whole brain. I went into like overdrive and was like, right, I just need to write a bunch of scripts, and now I'm writing this book. And that was actually what gave me some focus. And so, I was also in post-production on a short documentary that I'd made before the accident, and went into super workaholic mode from the hospital and was like arranging the color session for the thing. And I remember the first session we had with the colorist, I told him my camera was broken. And that but I didn't want him to see that my body was also broken. I was in a wheelchair. Yeah. And anyway, so that helped. But then obviously later became a problem that I had to stop working. But writing really helped. I wrote in a journal, like forced myself from when I came out of the hospital.
Yes.
I tried in hospital, but I just could, like, it was too...
I started writing for my book, but I only started really journaling just now. Yeah. Because
it was just too, I couldn't, journaling really helped. Writing really helped. Reading memoirs about people who had been through accidents like this really helped. I think right at the beginning, I don't know, because I wasn't reading them right at the beginning. I wish I had, but some of them even now when I read are quite triggering in some ways, because often they are stories about the family, like who really showed up. And so that's kind of sometimes difficult tricky to read. And also there's a lot of injury stuff that you can get triggered by reading, but definitely helps more than it hurts. There's very few films about injury recovery. But there's a really good French one.
No, I was going to say, oh no, tell me about the really good French one. But I was going to say, in your future, if you ever want to collab on making this, I really want to make something, about injury recovery.
Yeah. And there's really not that much.
No.
There's not that much about it. And but firstly, there's really not that many support groups I didn't find.
Oh, there's none.
I was very surprised.
I was so surprised to find a brain injury support group was nearly impossible. Okay, California Rehab, where I was posted up, they just started having one, thank God, but it was impossible. I couldn't find one.
It took me 3 years to get on. Rusk put me on a list, like a neuropsych evaluation. Like, what is Rusk? Like a brain rehab center. They put me on a list for a support group, and they eventually 3 years later, I got on this group with other people who'd had massive injuries or illnesses under 35 who were now transitioning back into life with altered abilities. And that was a fucking godsend.
The under 35 is really important.
Right.
Yes, because so many brain injury stuff that I went to, everybody was like above the age of 75. And I was like, a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah. And so that's something like that I really hope changes, because it was tough to find the right.
I really hope that changes too. Cal Rehab does now have a support group for brain injuries for anyone listening who's in the California, Los Angeles area that knows someone with a brain injury or has a brain injury.
Yes, and also the Truck Safety Coalition has a very small but blossoming support group for survivors of crashes involving large trucks.
And that's who you worked with recently. That was the next thing I was going to ask you. So this is perfect. Talk about the work you're doing with that.
Just real quickly, though, if you're in the UK, there's also Road Peace UK that you can contact, and they'll put you in the support group with lots of other people who've survived accidents, because it's a very different experience to like having lost someone
and just survive.
And often you get put together with, which they're lovely, but it's very different experiences.
It's very different.
And there's,
survivors go.
What did you ask me? Oh, about the DC thing?
Yes. Oh, no, about the work you're doing right now. Yes.
So, I mean, I feel bad saying I'm doing any work, because really the organization that does all the work is Truck Safety Coalition.
Yes.
And so they are a very small but very dedicated organization that basically advocates for better truck safety in the US.
Needed.
And they're on top of like every bill, they're just very, very knowledgeable, and they don't sleep. And they took a bunch of us to Capitol Hill last week, or the week, time means nothing to me anymore, like a week and a half ago. And we went and spoke to lawmakers on Capitol Hill and their aides.
That's amazing.
And basically told them our stories and said, like, this is why the things that Truck Safety Coalition are pushing for are important, because these are the people that actually are affected by it. So they're amazing.
Amazing. Say you meet someone and they were either just hit by a truck, or they were hit by a truck a few months ago. What would you say to someone who's in that place?
Like, I actually wrote down some answers to this, but do you like more practical advice or emotional?
Whatever you want to give.
Well, first, practically, get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer, yeah.
Get a lawyer, just if you're in the US, because you'll probably need one. Keep records of everything.
Everything.
Your mindset is really important. So if they tell you that certain things won't be possible for you, like, take it on. Don't have like crazy hopes, but also know that your mindset is like half the
battle, yeah.
And if you like...
And positivity aids in healing so much, it really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you like have to push yourself.
But also let yourself be angry.
Yeah, and also let yourself relax, because I think I pushed myself too hard and didn't do the other thing. But yeah, so practically, and do the PT. Do the PT. I like, just do it. Yeah. Every time they tell you to do it, as often as they tell you to do it. Read recovery memoirs. They'll really help. There's a book called Talk Crash to Me.
Yes, I read that. Yes,
it's
that's
like,
great.
You know, it's just
easy,
what it
it's
is.
basic, but it tells you what to do if you're hit by a car. It's
like practical advice that I didn't have that book for like a year and a half. And I was like, why
didn't I have this book? Yes.
So that book definitely Talk Crash to Me. Do you remember who wrote it?
Oh, no, I'm forgetting right now.
I'll find out.
Okay.
But Talk Crash to Me. Give yourself grace, but also like your mindset is so important. Oh. Your doctors and your PTs aren't your friends. That's one thing that I know that sounds really, but I just I felt like such a thing with all of them.
Because you were looking for,
you. They basically
yes.
saved you and you feel so, and then I felt kind of like bereft when they weren't in my life anymore. And I also stayed with certain medical professionals.
You're with certain ones for a very long time.
But I should have changed. Like there was some where I wasn't seeing like recovery and I should have been. And it's really easy to blame your medical professionals. Like it's not like they can only do so much. But then also I think when you have an inkling that something is not changing or getting better, or they're not really hearing what you're saying, just change. If you're in the US where you can just change, right? Or with my insurance, I could change. Write it down. Get a therapist if you don't already have one.
If you are in denial about the fact that you have PTSD, you definitely do.
Probably have PTSD.
Get started on that.
And then I put like, this could be the making of you. And I know that sounds cheesy, but I really think.
No, I really think like, this could definitely be the making of you.
Yeah. And every bad thing, someone said to me once when this first happened, every bad thing that's ever happened to me in life has ended up being one of the best, has led to one of the best things.
Yes.
And I really believe that. And in fact, sometimes the worse the thing, at least in my kind of limited experience, other than this crash, the better the thing. And it might take years to kind of reveal itself, but every single thing, even this.
Yeah.
And I really think, just trust that it's going to.
Yeah. I always say the greatest falls lead to the greatest climbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, yeah.
And then lastly, so having gone through what you went through with family, with friends, what would you say to the family or friends of someone that went through this crazy accident? That might be the hardest question. That's probably a harder question.
But I think you summed it up very well. Just show up.
Show the fuck up. That's it.
Because especially if they're not having people take care of the insurance part, if they're doing all their own like office life admin while also doing the PT, doing the surgeries, they're under a lot of pressure. So I would say, I read in Talk Crash to Me actually, it's well-meaning when people say, let me know if you need help with anything, right? But they mean well, but actually offer something specific. Because the answer is, I need help with fucking everything.
It could be as small as getting groceries for them.
Say like, can I deliver you food on these days of the week? Or can I pick up groceries for you? Or I'm going to pick up groceries for you. What do you need?
I see that's the one great thing about this accident is I know what people need.
Yeah.
Someone asked me, like, what is the best thing to give to someone that's in a hospital? And I was like, honestly, a fucking water bottle. And I was like, because if they're in a situation where, like, they can't move, maybe they have an alarm on the bottom of their bed or they're in a wheelchair, they're fucking thirsty, okay? I was like, I received upwards of 10 blankets. Believe me, they are covered in regards to blankets. Get them a fucking water.
Yeah. Although someone did give me a blanket that I love and still have on my sofa to this day.
God. Someone gave me that blanket that I love right there. Like, some blankets are incredible, but I'm saying they've got blankets covered. Yeah. Enough people are getting them blankets. That's been covered. Get them a fucking water bottle.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. Wet wipes in hospital when you can't get to a shower. Really
wet
great
wipes, really important.
Disposable
face wash,
I'm looking at my
or face wash wipe, which I know they're not really the best for you, but just something.
Yeah, something good. I don't know about you, but that sponge bath or like flannel bath.
Yes.
When you're in the hospital, I will never not appreciate running water and like being clean ever
girl,
again.
Girl,
The difference in your mood.
The difference in your mood.
Yeah.
It's so good for you. And then also my skin was the absolutely worst it's ever been when I left the hospital. So get them that fucking face wash. And moisturizer. Hospitals are very dry and sterile. They
are very dry. You're taking lots of opioids. I had other things. Yeah, but mainly the show up thing. Like my friend Jesse, I said he didn't ask if he should fly.
No, he just showed up
from New York. He
just showed up. It's even when I was taking a nap, comatose. There were certain like family friends. There was one in particular who he didn't tell anyone he was coming out. He just came out, and I was comatose, but he was able to help my parents.
Yeah,
who had so much shit going on.
Yeah,
and he was just like, "I'm here," and my dad was like, "What the fuck?" It was like one of my dad's really good friends, but he was just like, "Yes, I got on a plane and flew to LA, and I'm here," and just helping my parents with stuff. Yeah,
it really means so much. Let's see. Oh, help them find help. Like help them find the help they need. Don't act. If you feel squeamish when they tell you about their injuries, don't show it on your face.
Don't show it.
There was this thing
just
where
go
I was
throw up
like,
in the bathroom, but don't show it.
Yeah, I'm holding all this thing of like these really gross things that happen. I would really love to be able to like just tell you the nature of the injuries without you going like, it's just a human normal reaction, but it's like, then like, can I not tell you like what they're treating me for?
Yeah, it was like, well, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
There was times where I'm like, okay, so a problem that happened. Yeah. It's like, believe it or not, there are a lot of problems that happened.
Yeah.
Yes. And yeah.
But I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you have in your beautiful notes that we did not get to?
Oh, I want to shout out this woman who...
Okay.
Well, firstly, I would like to mention my nurse, Eugene. She's never probably going to watch this because I'm sure she's not on Instagram. But she was like, she was just like, I think nurses, they're living saints and doing God's work. And they should get all the praise. Except the ones that are a bit scary.
Yeah, some are kind of scary.
Which they definitely exist too.
They exist too.
There was a woman who did I tell you this before about the rock that woman put in my hand?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't know who she is. And so every time I like do anything public, I say like, I don't know. But you know what? Maybe she's in the police report. Maybe I can track her down.
You'll find her eventually. Yeah. There are a couple people that I definitely that are probably in my police report that I need to find. Like there was one nursing student who kept my airway open. Until the ambulance got there, and I'm like, I need to get her name's Popper in the police report, and I just need to reach out to that. She's probably an actual nurse now. Yeah. I just reach out to her and be like, you kept me alive. Like, thank you.
Oh, yeah. On the street.
Yeah, she happened to be walking by when my accident happened.
Oh my God.
And she kept my airway open until the ambulance got there. So I'm like, you kept me alive. Yeah. I've been back to the ICU.
Okay, good.
Who I don't remember the neuro ICU brain injury, and I didn't remember them obviously, but they were all so happy when they saw me. Yeah.
I think do you also feel like, and a lot of the people I've met that have had similar crazy things happen, instead of being like, oh my God, why did this happen to me? Why? They're like, I can't believe I lived, and it gives you like a whole new.
Yes.
It's really strange how it can give you this. It can not be a positive thing, but it can end up giving you drive rather than...
Yes. Advice that I'm going to give to you. So I went through, or not me, my dad went through my medical reports because he actually understands them. Found my ER doctor and was like, that man saved your life. And I reached out to my ER doctor and he was overjoyed. He came to the podcast launch and he's going to record an episode with me in a few weeks. But something he told us, or his husband actually told my dad, is he's never met someone. He was so honored. He's never met someone because the ER doctors, like, they get forgotten about. And even though they're the ones that initially saved you, because you don't remember them and they get forgotten about. So because of that, go through your medical reports, find your ER doctor and just email them a thank you.
Send your nurse a gift.
Okay. Send my
your
nurse.
main nurse a gift. Or I'm not telling you that, but like,
Send your main nurse a gift. Thank your ER doctors, everyone, because they save your lives and they never get any credit for it because you never see them again.
And I thought for a while they probably get overwhelmed with so many people that I don't want to see. And then the nurse was like, no.
No. He was overjoyed.
Yeah.
That doctor, he was overjoyed because he was like, I never see the other side and never see how good they're doing. And like, for me, he was like, I didn't know, like, we didn't, like, I know, were you going to die? Were you going to wake up? How disabled were you going to be? And he was like, and you're doing incredible. You're starting this podcast. And he's like, we never get to see that. So, yes.
Thank your medical professionals.
Thank your medical professionals. Yeah. So we gave you guys a lot of content recs. We gave you, and then, Kat, tell them where they can find you. They can find you in a lot of places.
I'm on Instagram.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, what am I doing?
Oh, yes. What are you doing right now? And this ties into where they can find you.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, I'm on Instagram. I think my handle was k.prescott77.
77. Yes.
Okay. And I am writing a book.
You're writing books? So am I.
Yes.
So am I. But I
think you're a lot closer to yours than I am.
I am close, but I've kind of realized I need to pause it since I'm doing this therapy, or not pause it, because a lot of my book is preaching that mask of positivity. And I'm like,
that's interesting.
Oh my God. Like, I need to go, like, the lessons that I learned, because I talk about a lot of spiritual lessons and stuff. It's very much about spirituality. That's very important. But I also need to talk about the trauma. I also need to hold grace for myself. And like, hey, positivity is important, but this still fucking sucked. Yeah.
That's great. That's a bit. You're still on draft. This is draft 1, right? So you could totally.
This was draft 1, and I was almost done with it. I thought I'd written the entire thing. I thought I was finally done. I was just in editing to make sure it was perfect. But then since I started doing this work, I'm like, no, this to an extent, it's preaching that toxic positivity. It'll probably sell, like, as, it's happy, but like, no. And I can still teach the lessons, but like, not it only be positive, but really have it hit and really have it feel and really affect someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's so I feel like you need that you need some positivity, you need drive, you need to like believe that you can recover more than people say that you can, I think. But if you don't also go, oh my God, it's so sad that, I spent so long in the like, but I'm doing this and I'm doing this. And it's so great that I'm writing because actually I always wanted to write.
Yes, that's literally me.
But you're just not, but you also have to be like, wow, but it's so sad that like, I can't run anymore. And I can't do jiu-jitsu or whatever it is that you used to do that was so part of who you are. Part of
it for me is acting because I can't do a 12-hour day. I can't do a 12-hour day. That's not realistic for me.
That's a loss.
Yeah, that's a loss.
Well, and also, but then the other side of it is you have like all this other stuff.
Yeah, you have all this other stuff. So it's so great.
Yeah.
So where they can find you is k.prescott77 on Instagram.
Yes.
I'm going to put her IMDb in the show notes. Because why not?
Well, my landlord has it.
Also, you can watch Finding Carter, but I also say watch Skins UK. Generation 2, seasons 3 and 4. Like I rewatched a couple episodes last weekend. Yes.
Was that in preparation for this or just?
No, that was literally my friend was over and we both found out that we love Skins UK and we're like, let's watch it. And we watched the last 2 episodes of season 4.
Yeah. You said
season 4, and it was amazing. I was transported back to 12-year-old me, and that man is still beautiful. Sexual awakening.
Yeah,
sexual awakening.
Well, thank you. This has been really cool.
Thank you. I will be pasting where to find Kat in the show notes, other than what she already said. I will also be pasting her recs. I will re-get them from her after this podcast episode is done, but I will also be including the content recommendations. And other than that, thank you guys. This is a very important episode. So if you made it through the entire thing, thank you so much. And remember, if any of your friends or you yourself go through a traumatic accident, show the fuck up for your friends. And if you're going through it yourself, you're going to get through it. You're going to get through it.
You're going to get through it. Get support. Yes. But you're going to get through it.
Greatest falls allow for the greatest climbs.
Yep.
And thank you so much. This has been Gabriella Rebranded. Win most, lose some. Oh, follow me on Instagram at Gabriella Rebranded. Follow me on TikTok at Gabriella Rebranded. Like, review, subscribe, sign up for my newsletter at GabriellaRebranded.com. And yes, this has been Gabriella Rebranded, Win Most, Lose Some. Okay, bye.